Welcome back here, guys, to the Sports News Analysis YouTube channel. I've been focusing most of the weekend on getting the videos up for my 7-round mock draft. I'm through 2 rounds of that, so be sure to check that out. But I wanted to get you guys up to speed on some of the rumors that have been circulating this weekend. Remember, tomorrow's the last day that players can be franchised, and we're only a little bit more than a week away from the start of free agency. So there's a lot going on, particularly regarding players that are thought to be candidates to be franchised. And I'm going to focus on 3 of them to start off this video to begin with, and then get to some other free agent rumors. But look, I think all 3 of these guys are in a different situation. I'll start with Brian Orakpo. Supposedly, there's some questions in the Redskins organization as far as if they even want to keep Orakpo and sign him long-term or give him the franchise tag. They're not even sure they want him back. Very confusing to me because they're going to stick with the 3-4 in Washington. Orakpo has experience playing in that 3-4 and is the best 3-4 scheme linebacker available in free agency. So when you already have the guy on your roster, a guy that's a quality player, a top 5 free agent overall, it doesn't really make much sense to me why the Redskins wouldn't want to keep him around. I guess I shouldn't be surprised with the overall way that organization is run. Some suspect moves, keeping Jim Haslett, giving D'Angelo Hall the contract they gave him, just moves that tell me it may be a lot of the same old stuff in Washington, even though they did get a new coach in Jay Gruden. But look, since when is Daniel Snyder, gun shy about spending money in free agency? And maybe he's one of these guys who doesn't like spending it on his own players. But then again, I just made reference to the contract he gave D'Angelo Hall. So, I'm confused by this. I think it's sort of a no-brainer for them to at least franchise Orakpo. But obviously, a long-term deal would be better for the Redskins as far as the salary cap goes, and obviously be more favorable for Orakpo as well. The only thing I can think is the Redskins just got out of being in salary cap hell, and maybe they don't want to ever go back there again. That's the only thing I can even think they're thinking here by not wanting to sign Orakpo. But we'll see how that unfolds. But if he hits the open market, he's going to get a big contract from someone. Moving from Brian Orakpo to a guy in Jairus Byrd, who I think is a completely different situation. Look, he wasn't happy about being franchised last year. The word is the Bills won't franchise him for a second straight year, and they won't franchise and then try to trade him because they're thinking if they can't find a trade partner, all right, and he may hold out, and that's a road they don't want to go down. So they made a substantial offer to Bird from what you're hearing, and Bird turned it down. I think with Bird, it's just a case of him not maybe wanting to be in Buffalo anymore and just not coming out and saying it. That seems to be all signs are pointing to that. If he did turn down, like let's say an offer that would make him the highest paid safety in the NFL, well, it's pretty clear. Then he just wants to move on from playing in Buffalo. There'll be a lot of suitors for him, to me, including Cleveland, to go play for Mike Pettin, his old coach, and Philadelphia. Look, Howie Roseman's on record as saying he wants to sign a veteran safety, so I think that's something to look out for as well. But Jairus Byrd, another guy, a top 5 free agent that's going to have a considerable market. But again, I think it's a case of him just not wanting to be in Buffalo for whatever reason. Lamar Houston, the last guy here. It's thought by guys, insiders there in the Bay Area, that he's not going to be franchised by the Raiders. Or they don't think they're going to be able to reach a long-term deal with him either. Again, surprising to me. The Raiders have over $60 million in cap space. Lamar Houston is one of the top 3 or 4 defensive ends available on the market. A guy who's stout in run defense. Leads me to believe maybe they, for whatever reason, they just don't want him back and are trying to throw up smoke screens to kind of cover themselves. But look, Houston's a guy I thought they would franchise maybe. The first domino to fall to them, I think, is going to be Jared Veldheer, and I think that will steer what they do with Lamar Houston if they want to bring him back. But I was a little surprised to see them being a little bit dismissive, it seemed, of Houston, a guy I think is a solid guy. It's going to be hard to replace, and you have $60 million in cap space. I mean, you have more than enough room to bring back some of your own guys and fill plenty of holes here in Oakland. But just catching you up on some news coming out of Oakland and some other free agent rumors here. Josh McCown. Look, I thought it was a foregone conclusion that he would return to Chicago. I think it makes too much sense, right? I mean, he had a bunch of success last year. He knows the system. His teammates will have confidence in him. Probably one of the best backup quarterbacks in the league last year, if not the best. But Adam Schefter's reporting that they don't expect him to be back in Chicago. I'm very surprised by that. A guy this late in his career finds a good scheme fit. Why there wouldn't be mutual interest there? We'll see how this plays out. But we'll look for Josh McCown to possibly be on the move from Chicago. Danny Amendola, his name is coming up in trade talks. I look at this two ways. One, I'm not surprised because Amendola underwhelmed, to say the least, last year with injuries, not being productive when he was on the field. And let's face it, Julian Edelman outplayed him and took his spot. The spot they planned on Amendola filling, the role they had him filling, Edelman stepped in, took advantage of the opportunities when they were given to him, and now it's a guy in free agency who's going to cash in a little bit, and he deserves it. He became an irreplaceable part of that offense. I'm not super high on Edelman, but he's good in that scheme, and he's important to the Patriots the way they're constructed now. So not surprised to see Amendola being mentioned in trade talks. I would be surprised if they were able to trade him. With that contract, he gets paid between $5 and $6 million a year, I believe, and that's not a contract I would take on for a guy that's hurt. But we knew that before he even signed with the Patriots. Another guy the Patriots are linked to is Darrelle Revis, and you have the Patriots and the Broncos as the two most prominent teams linked to the Tampa Bay cornerback. And you have to remember the contract that Revis is on. Yes, it pays him $16 million a year, but it's no guaranteed money. So he's essentially on a year-to-year $16 million contract is essentially what it boils down to with the way it was structured last year when he signed with Tampa. So if a team like the Patriots or a team like the Broncos, teams that are in win-now mode with veteran legendary quarterbacks, I think it makes sense to trade for a guy like Revis. Now, I don't think the asking price is going to be too high because, again, he has a $16 million contract, for the next – I believe it's the next 4 seasons. So, I don't think the asking price can be super high, given that that's the fact, especially if the Patriots – look, if I'm the Patriots, I'd rather give $16 million to Revis than, $6 or $7 million to Talib. I know it's significant more money, but you have to remember, it's a year-to-year contract that becomes guaranteed if Revis is on your roster. I wouldn't want to get into bed here with Talib on a 3-4 year deal with guaranteed money. That's just me. But for the Broncos as well, look, Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie is a free agent. You have Chris Harris, a restricted free agent coming off an injury. They have a tight window to win, right, with Manning. They're a win-now team. He could make sense for them as well. So the trade market picking up for Revis, again, predominantly because of the structure of that contract. And lastly, Louis Delmas and the Falcons really picking up steam. I think that's a natural fit there. The Falcons need safety help, and they need help on a lot of spots in their defense, but they need safety help. And look for Louis Delmas and the Falcons. There seems to be some mutual interest there as well. Guys, just catching up on some of the rumors from the weekend. Let me know what you guys think. Hit me up in the comments. Hit me up on Twitter as well. I'll be following this up with an NFL draft rumors video as well, so be sure to check that out. Be sure to subscribe if this is your first time here. It's completely free. Thanks again for listening. Have a great night.